Welcome back, PMC fans. It is yet again time for our weekly recap. Now, I'm not alone. Of course, I'm Jspeckz. If you didn't know who I was, you might just be a horse. But I'm joined again by my good friend Dpad Gamer, who was here with me last week. Say hello, my friend.
What's going on, people?
So, unfortunately, again, Phantom Base is unable to join us, but it's for a good reason. The Phantom Baby, has touched down. So, if you appreciate Tyler enough, leave a like on this video just for the fact that the Phantom Baby has arrived. She is here. Sophia is a beautiful, beautiful
She
little
is
girl.
adorable.
Yes, she is beautiful. We are very happy for our friend, and we understand how much more busy you become when you have a child. So we are not fretting. We're just going to go ahead and move this show along. Now, before we even start the recap, this was a very, very interesting week as far as the matches go. How do you feel about this week, Dpad?
All of the predictions that I made were wrong. Almost
Oh,
all of them. I mean, I got destroyed this week
oh
on
my.
predictions.
So this Pick'em crew is gonna be quite the epic one, in my opinion. Then if that is indeed true, but let's not dabble too long. Let's get right into the first match, shall we? Now with match one, we have Trev, coach of the Atlanta Braviaries, versus Maxx, coach of the Maximum Charizards. Trev picking up a 5-0 win, and it was pretty much Trev using his advantage of the league format against Maxx. Like, Tornadus is one of the most versatile mons, and he literally had a move for everything on Max's team. When he pulled out the smackdown on his Zard Y, I almost cried. I was like, you even brought smackdown? Trev, you're such a horse for that. And quite frankly, I think Maxx just needs to pull it in and just think a little bit more about what he could do as far as his matchups and stuff, and actually prep for his opponent, which I was trying to help him do. Like, we all understand, like, a little debacle happened, which is over obviously, but we all understand that you have these creative sets, and creativity means nothing if your creativity doesn't affect what your opponent can bring against you.
So yeah, I totally agree. This was I think the only one that I got right, and this was my lock pick. Um, just because the Atlanta Braviaries have such a terrifying team, and it really did not match up well against Max's team at all. So, there was definitely a problem there. And I think this is a perfect example for everyone out there watching that wants to join a league. If you think you're awesome at Pokemon, but you've never done a league format, you're going to get Shrek'd. There's a huge learning curve. So, I mean, I've seen his other videos. He is a solid battler on stuff like Showdown, or not Showdown, like Battle Spot and stuff. But when it gets to a league format, there's a whole different level of preparation. You can't just bring a standard set. You have to prepare exactly for what your opponent has.
And funny enough, I think he prides himself in not bringing standard sets at all. Like, he likes bringing funky stuff. But you can bring funky stuff. You can bring heat. I'm all about bringing heat. If the heat is specifically for your opponent, you have every tool listed ahead of you to see what your opponent, like, that's the, yes, league format is hard, it's more in depth, but at the same time it is easier because you know everything your opponent can bring. There is no way you can be surprised because you were supposed to prep for every possible thing they can bring.
And Tornadus, like you said, it's such a versatile mon. I mean, it literally has a move. Its coverage is insane. It's one of the best Pokemon in League format.
Yeah, the coverage that I didn't even know Tornadus got Smackdown. Like, I know Tornadus got Grass Knot, I know it got Heat Wave, I know it got Extra Century. I wasn't even aware that it got Smackdown. The fact that he brought it just to spite his Charizard Y was absolutely hilarious. Honestly, Maxx, I think you should make some swaps as far as your team. And by these swaps, I don't mean go ahead and grab Pokemon that you're used to using. Not saying you should grab Pokemon that you don't know how to use, but there are certain Pokemon that might be able to help your team more than the ones you have. Like, I don't think Charizard Y is a good fit for your team.
Yeah, it's honestly, I think Charizard Y is just not a League format Pokemon. It's constantly weak to rocks. You can't switch it in when you're gonna Mega, and then you can't switch it in after you mega. So it doesn't protect itself well. And if you don't, he didn't even get to throw rocks up yet. But if the Braviaries did, he was in trouble already.
Yeah, and it's like, Max, don't take this as us attacking you. We're not trying to attack you at all, my friend. Like I said, you are new to this format. We are simply trying to guide you in the way of this format. We have been playing this format for a while. I have, especially. And I know, like, there's certain things you stay away from. Like, hazards are a huge thing when it comes to, league format. And so you have to keep that in mind when building your team. I honestly think, since you don't have a fairy on your team right now, I think Mega Gardevoir would be good for you.
That is a scary wall breaker. It has good speed. And yeah, I just want to say too, Max, we are definitely not busting on you at all. Just so you know, I think everyone that has started in a league has gotten swept. I mean, I got swept by an agility passing Jolteon into a wall breaker.
I got
And
cleaned up by Zoroark. And for some, it was on the showdown. It was a showdown league, and it went for moves the mon that it was hiding as didn't know, and I still didn't know it was a Zoroark, and I just got 6-0'd by it and was like, well,
yeah, so it's definitely a learning experience. Don't take this as us hating on you. We want to see you do well, and we want to see you stay in the league. So, we're not hating on you.
And with that, I think it's good enough time for us to go on to match two. Max, again, just come back strong next week, bro. Next week's new week. Don't look at it. The way I feel about league format is, I don't care how many matches you win in a row. Next week is a completely new opponent. It's a completely new matchup. That does not like push over into your next match. You could be undefeated and play somebody and they just absolutely destroy you the next week. Like, I don't really believe in momentum with Pokemon as far as carrying over week to week, because RNG is too much of a thing.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at how amazingly A Drive has done the last 3 seasons, and then this season he's just tanking. So, you just gotta take each game fresh.
All right, and with that, we go to our second match. A very, very, very hyped match. This was one of my favorite matches to get a chance to see. Two powerhouses, Akki versus Adam, the bee's knees, and Adam pretty much went ahead and showed you why you shouldn't pick against him in Pick'em Crew. He went ahead and he grabbed himself a win in this one. I was surprised. Not saying I didn't think he could win. I thought this was going to be a good matchup, obviously, but I felt like it was on the table as to who you pick. Like, I felt like it could go either way.
Yeah, and Adam is my boy, man. I actually help team build with him, and we do some practice sessions and stuff. And I still picked against him. I'm like, I'm sorry, bro. I love you. You're an awesome battler, but how do you go against a Hoopa and a Lopunny? It's insane. But he didn't bring his Hoopa. Spoiler alert. And I think that may have actually been extremely bad for him because he didn't have answers to what Adam brought.
Yeah, and I mean, as far as Adam goes, I mean, he can sit here and say, well, you brought a Hoopa, I bring a Genesect, and Genesect again does work and gets another 3 kills. So that's looking like something that's not going to be able to pass the suspect test so far. So far, it's been cleaning up.
Yeah, if you get an average of about 2 to 3 kills every game that you bring it to, I think it's a little overpowered.
Yeah, this was game of the week in my opinion 9 times out of 10, but this isn't the only good match. We had a lot of, like, I enjoyed a lot of the week 2 matches as far as just pure matchup go, and I was very excited to see a lot of them. Now with that, I mean, if you guys want anything more, you're just gonna have to go check out their videos. Their channels both will be linked in the description. Click both of their links, watch both of their battles, watch both of their team builders. They go very in depth with why they bring what they bring, and they're very informative. So if you want to learn the in and outs of league format, I highly recommend both of these two.
And I just want to throw this in here too. While we were team building, one of the sets, because you were talking about bringing heat, right? And one of the sets we were talking about bringing is a Latias with max speed and max health, and a I forget which berry it is, but the berry that will give you a natural gift into bug to take care of, because that his switch in for Latias would have been Hoopa.
My goodness, you can't bring that kind of heat. That's not fair. The heat. That's another thing, people. If you're listening, Max, if you're listening, natural gift and hidden power can make or break your prep. Literally, if especially when there's just situations where there's always an obvious switch into a certain mon. Like let's say in your case, I'm trying to think what exactly. Like yeah, your team's kind of awkward to do it, but let's say you have Zard Y and his obvious switch into your Zard Y is like a bulky water type or something that you know can obviously take its hit. So they run HP Rock and then kill your Zard Y. It's like stuff like that is the way I see it. Obvious checks usually run hidden powers that take the things that take out things they're supposed to check.
So here's a good example. Like, let's say you're going up against someone who has a T-Tar, and you have a Zard Y. You run Focus Blast. It's what you do to to counter it, because you know he's going to switch in. So when you come in to that, you just run Focus Blast, and you kill it.
Bingo, there we go right there. Thank you very much for the assist on that one. Now
No
let's
problem.
go to recap match number 3. Another very good match, but very, very, very long. Jack. Terrakion stall should never be a thing, and the only reason why I'm complaining, people, is because I'm the one who had to record that match like 3 or 4 times because it kept not being the quality that I wanted it to be, and I wanted it to be high quality just for this horse to record it in 360p. I was upset, people.
It was a long match, and there were parts of it where honestly, and I tend not to do this, but I started fast forwarding through the video because it just took so long.
Yeah,
But
see, Jack's whole thought about his team, he told me he's like he felt as if he didn't have any offense before the swaps that he made. That do come in effect on week 3. Make sure if you didn't check out the waiver wire, or if you are going to check out the waiver wire, check out the waiver wire and the trade transactions to make sure you find out how these teams are changing throughout the season. But I felt as if his team was fine offensively. Like yeah, it wasn't hyper offense or anything, but it had it offensive threats. It's just you usually draft bulky teams.
yeah, and I like a lot of his team, and he has some interesting Pokemon you don't see very often, which I like.
Yeah, and then as far as Dolphin just didn't have the necessary means as far as planning to get over the bulk that Jack was able to bring this week. Like Dolphin just struggled. Like it seems like Dolphin has issues playing the long game because Jack was literally able to, pull his strings. Like he Pinocchio Dolphin into how he wanted the game to play. He had the game controlled the whole time, and he was just able to like he didn't necessarily dominate Dolphin, but he didn't like he was in control. He basically the match was his to lose. That's pretty much how I feel.
Yeah, and I think Mienshaos really just knew what their win con was and held on to it. Whereas, like you were saying with Dolphin, he just didn't. He kind of about halfway through the match, you could tell he was either getting frustrated with how long it was taking or something because you could tell that he kind of lost focus by comparison.
Yeah, and then that's my thing with Mega Aerodactyl, man. It's very fast, but it can't deal with bulky teams like this because it doesn't have the necessary move set to actually help him the way he like. What moves does Aerodactyl, especially to take advantage of its ability? Like average Mega Aerodactyl runs what? Stone Edge, Aerial Ace, Aqua Tail, and Hone Claws.
Or Crunch,
Well,
yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
it's
it's to me, Aerodactyl is a late game sweeper. That's what it is. And if you look at the lineup of his team, he has Doug Trio, which is a sweeper. You've got Metagross, which is more of a wall breaker, I guess, but kind of a sweeper as well. It kind of falls in an awkward category. Greninja is a sweeper, and Aerodactyl is a sweeper. He didn't have enough tanks or enough wall breakers to deal with a wall break, a stall team.
I mean, looking at this matchup, to be completely honest, people, Protean Greninja could have 6-0 Jack. Just looking at the matchup alone. Greninja's moveset, all he had to do, Like if you're looking at it on paper, Focus Blast, Grass Knot, Scald, Dark Pulse. That wins the game. That literally wins the game. But I don't know. Dolphin is starting to get a little predictable. This is the second week in a row he brought two Focus Sashers, being his Doug Trio and Greninja. Not saying that that's bad, but it's just like, so now if they're already frail, and you know hazards are a huge thing in this format. So we rewind back to week one. If Max had White Rocks up, Hitmonlee would have cleaned you up. You gotta change it up a little bit, Dolphin. And you have Protean Greninja, bro. Everybody was so hyped. Well, not hyped, but everybody was so frightened by this thing. And
Well, and in the right hands, it is terrifying.
yeah,
But
not trying to say Dolphin is the wrong hands, but you just have to realize what you have, Dolphin. You have Protean Greninja. Use it. It outsped this man's whole team, I'm pretty sure.
yeah, I think so. I think it.
Minus the Scarf to Rack, but even that, it's just like you could have played around Greninja. I give respect to my boy Osseo because he knows how to use glass cannons. He protected Weavile amazingly in season one. And I think you need to take a few notes out of his book. Just get Greninja in there, hit something hard, force some switches, and get on out, man. That's pretty much what you have to do.
And I would recommend for Dolphin too is really take a look at what mons are available as a better hazard removal, because he didn't bring one this week.
unless we're talking Defog Mega Aerodactyl.
That's not even a thing. That's why I said he didn't bring one.
Oh man, what, it doesn't get that? Like in real life, it doesn't get it?
Oh, I don't know if it does or doesn't, but you don't
That's
put
yeah,
defog on a sweeper.
you don't put defog on that. Doug Trio could have, like, I don't know how Dolphin goes about his planning, but Doug Trio could have been used to trap Tarak and kill it if with the sash. Because Tarak obviously was the biggest issue for him. Scarf Tarakion cleaned him up late game, and if he was able to get rid of that, he would have been fine. He kind of let his Greninja go down against Cofagrigus, where I don't see why he didn't go for Dark Pulse against the Cofag when it was at like 60 HP left. And I was talking to Jack about it, and I was like, was he predicting Terrakion? Like, I don't see a situation where Terrakion would be a switch into a Greninja on a Cofagrigus with 60 HP. Even if he did click Dark Pulse, you don't switch Terrakion into a Greninja that can possibly click Scald.
Yeah, and if it's sashed and it hasn't been damaged, you kind of have a free click into that anyway, because even if it is scarfed, it won't matter.
Exactly, exactly. But we're not gonna, again, we're not attacking people, so nobody in the comment section get upset about us. This is just us going over what we see from the week and giving you guys our recap and even some thoughts, some info on how you can improve, stuff like that. Or not, because hindsight obviously is 2020, so not necessarily to improve, but just things to look back on and think about and just say, okay, so what did I do wrong this week? How can I improve myself? Stuff like that. But with that, people, we shall go on to the match number 4. We have the Baltimore Oriolus and the Windsor Weaviles. CJ versus Orso. Now, this match was not as long at all. This match was pretty interesting. I'm trying to remember exactly I mean, for the most part, CJ just was able to execute his plan. That's pretty much what I saw. Scolipede did work. Whimsicott was his go-to switch-in for, what was it? What was his switch-in on? Donphan, I believe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Whimsicott was like his 100% switching on Donphan, and he just kept doing it because he had no reason not to. Embor, Orso really had nothing for Embor. Like, Embor was able to click Flare Blitz a few times and put huge dents into his team.
Yeah, I mean, a reckless flare blitz into a Salamence, even intimidated, is still going to do about 30%. So you got to have a better wall to handle that. So I think that this match started really rocky off for CJ, and I was really nervous watching the beginning of it because, like, how do you... I think Weaviles prepared well because they put Dazzling Gleam on Victini, which really hampered his plan for Hydreigon. Um, but but CJ was able to keep a cool head and keep the switch-ins, and I like how he played middle ground plays until he saw the opening. Like he didn't rush it at all, which the beginning of the game it looked like CJ was on the back foot until he got that opening he needed, and then he executed his plan flawlessly.
Yeah, that's one thing I got to give to CJ, man. He's good at executing what needs to be executed, and that's pretty much the whole situation, man. You just got to play safe until that opening pops up for you to make that aggressive play, or wait until you feel as if your opponent is so comfortable with going with the safe play that you pull an aggressive double, and then possibly open you up a spot to wreck house. Now, I'm trying to. There was something I was about to say. One thing about Orso, he loves this scarf Mox immense. He loves it. I'm not hating on it. It's an amazing sweeper, but Intimidate could have helped you a few times. Even though it wouldn't have necessarily stopped the inboard, could have helped. If you could have, like, come on, Orso, Intimidate Dragon Dance Salamence is amazing. Like, you get that opportunity to lower something's speed. Speed? Hello? Lower something's attack, and then set up a free D dance on the Switch, and then start wrecking lives.
Yeah, how I think I would have ran Orzo's team is once I got rid of the Hydreigon, then use Salamence. I think I probably, because then that's the only thing that really threatened it from a special side, and I probably would have run pretty close to max HP, max defense, and Dragon Dance. Because it gives you the opportunity to boost, take hits, and if you have Intimidate, then you can really prevent his physical attackers, being Scolipede, Jirachi, and Emboar, from doing anything to you.
Yeah, this match was. Oh yeah, and then CJ played around Registeel amazingly as well. That's not Registeel, though it is a good wall. It is a very passive wall. It doesn't hit as hard as it needs to. That's why I like Regirock in comparison. Yes, it might not be as defensive on both sides, but it has a base 100 attack. So I mean, the Stone Edge is gonna hurt. Whereas Registeel, you pretty much know what it's gonna bring every single time. It's gonna either bring Earthquake or Seismic Toss, Iron Head, either Thunderwave or Toxic, unless you switch it up and be kind of creative. But I mean, with the necessary mons, Jirachi can switch in on that anytime. Like he scouted for the Earthquake. Once he noticed that you didn't have the Earthquake, Jirachi was as dedicated to switching into Registeel. Just like with how Miguel, when he played against Envy, once Envy noticed that his Registeel couldn't touch his Jirachi, he got the chance to set up the sub and say GG.
It's Envy.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Now let's go on to match 5, shall we? With match 5, we have the newcomer Roshan, coach of the Detroit Solgaleos, versus Kyle, coach of the Mesquite Mesprits. And Kyle was able to pick this win up 4-0. Pretty much, Roshan was scared of Mega Metagross, in my opinion. He was just scared of it. He kept thinking he didn't have anything for it, which, I mean, I guess. He brought Scarf Drill. He just wasn't able to play around it as well as he could have to get the win. But it being a 4-0 is not representation of how close the match actually was. It's not like Kyle came in there, hit him with a few meteor mashes, and then just beat him. No, Roshan made a lot of good plays. If he was able to get up his webs, it's probably I don't really remember if he got up his webs or not. I'm pretty sure he tried and probably got that probably was averted, but the webs was that pretty. I wouldn't say would have considered locked him up the match, but it would have made him a lot easier. Because though Kyle has Mega Metagross, you have an Excadrill, you have a Staraptor, you have a Rotom, and you have Mega Diancie. So Roshan's team is not one to be, doubted on.
Yeah, Meta Megagross is terrifying. It's honestly, in my vote, I don't think I want it in next season. It's just too terrifying. As far as what it can do, it's a sweeper and a wall breaker simultaneously. But regardless of that, you can play around it. I think the biggest problem here is you've got the Mesprits, who are a pretty seasoned team, versus or a coach versus someone who's new to league format, and you've got to deal with the fact that he didn't draft this team. So I think he did remarkably well considering that he only picked 3 of the mons. That was it. Everything else was given to him. As the season goes on, I think we'll see him really improve, and he's able to make free agency trades. Then his team will be more to what he's accustomed to or comfortable with.
I agree with you 100%. I just want to do a little, not necessarily a disclaimer. This is to all the coaches. I don't want to hear any complaints about, oh my god, why is Metagross in this league? It's a suspect test for a reason. We are testing it because people are always complaining about not enough mons in the format. It is being if it does too good, it will not come back again. That's pretty much it. But I don't want to hear any of you. I don't know why it's in this league. This don't do that, because that's basically you trying to deface what we're putting on here. It wasn't in season 1. It is a suspect test. If you do not like it, then just, I mean, I don't want to be mean and say suck it up, but suck it up.
Yeah, I
It's
mean, all the coaches came into this knowing that these were suspects. I mean, you can't go into a suspect league testing format and be upset with the Pokemon that are in it. That's not reasonable.
Yeah, because it's not like we're testing Mega Gengar, Mega Mawile, Mega Kangaskhan. No, we're testing ones that were, like, people told me what they wanted us to test. It's not like I was just like, you know what? I want to take all the broken mons and throw them into the format. No, that's not what happened. People's like, I really don't think Mega Metagross is as good as people say it is in the format. Let's test it. Even though I seen A Drive go ham with it in the UCL, I still wanted to give it a chance just because me personally, I've never been able to play with it in league format, and I played against it in league format and was able to take it down. And it's like people are saying, I don't know why Genesix in this league. It's a Uber for a reason. Half of you don't even play Ubers, okay? I've never used Genesect in my life. So this gives me the opportunity to actually see what it does. That was another thing. A lot of these mons just don't get seen play because Ubers isn't the number one tier that people just play. Like, yeah, I'm a Ubers player. No, most people play OU, UU if they want something different, and then there's a bunch of lords that play lower tiers. Like I play lower tiers, but they're suspect tests for a reason. We want to see how they're done in the format. You can't say something about I don't know why Genesect is in this format if it never even got the opportunity to be in this format.
Yeah, and I just want to bring out 2 other points here. Is all of these people, all of these coaches are potential players for season 2. And if you're going to start saying, I don't like that this is in this and I don't like that this is in this, we're going to see that, and that's not healthy for our league. Also, if you are able to work around something like, okay, let's say you're facing Kakunas and they bring their Genesect and you do something wild to break that. We are going to see that and take note of that. So, don't look at this as something, for example, with Metagross, it's like, oh, it's broken. If you are a good enough player and you can figure out how to work around it, all of the analysts are going to take note that you handled it well, and that's going to be a solid mark for you to come into season 2.
Yeah, and it's like I didn't want to turn this into like a rant or anything like that, people. But it's just I've seen a few videos, like team builder videos, where people like, yeah, Genesect's in this league, and I have it, and I don't know why it's allowed in this league, but okay, like there's no need for that comment. There is no need for any comments like that at all. That's like saying, I'm in your league, and well, they do it on. I'm not even gonna make an example. I changed my mind, but it's just negativity for no reason is ridiculous, people. Let's try to stay away from it. And with
Yeah,
that, oh, go ahead, Dpad.
I was just going to say, let's leave that to Verlis.
The Verlicify named Versilify, like my boy Manitou calls him. Now let's go to the final match for this week, people. We have the Washington Talonflames versus the New York Metagross. And quite frankly, my boy RG is tearing it up right now. He got a great win against Jack last week, even though it was a very long fought out battle. And he comes in and he pretty much he handles the Washington Talonflames. Completely handles them. Like he played great. Like I was surprised. Well, not necessarily surprised as if I don't know if he can play like that, but he Oh my goodness, I just got a tweet and I guess I got some information I have to pay attention to. Sorry about that, people. Real life problems. But yeah, it's just like RG was able to execute basically whatever he wanted to do. You know, he was able to come in there. Look, his team can do this to me, so I'm going to use this to counter it. And it worked, and it was amazing.
Yeah, I agree. I love his combination usage of his fire water grass core with two mons, and they're both tanky. And then he adds Cresselia and the wall breaking Haxorus all on one team. I mean, he's got a beautiful team and he knows how to use it. And I think that's pretty much all that needs to be said.
Yeah, RG's team is actually ridiculous. I'm the Mega Venusaur Volcanion core is insane, and the fact that he has my man Haxorus, he has Cresselia to pair with the bulk he already has. Like his team should like it's top two, in my opinion. Now that I'm looking back at the rosters, might even be my number one team overall. Only reason why I wouldn't be is just because I'm not a player that enjoys that much bulk. But at the same time, this team is insane. And RG, keep it up, bro. You have a match. He plays against Maxx on week 3, so I'm very interested to see how Maxx prepares for that, and as well, I'm very interested to see if RG can keep up this hot streak.
Yeah, I think he might be able to go the entire season without losing until postseason.
All right, people. Now, if you did enjoy this week's weekly recap, leave a like. Tell us in the comment section how you felt about the matches, how you feel about the matches coming forward. The spreadsheet will be linked again in this video. Make sure to subscribe to all the analysts, subscribe to all the coaches. You know, the support is what helps keep this driven, helps keeps us, you know, motivated to keep this going. I'm trying to put my all into this, and the more you guys come out and show support, the more it makes me want to keep going and you know give more of these smaller tubers a chance to be in a league that actually wants to succeed. But people, like I said, the spreadsheet will be in the description, so if you want to keep up with your favorite team or the teams in general, you'll be able to go ahead, grab that spreadsheet, put it in your bookmarks, and check that out from time to time to stay up to date with everything that's going on. Dpad, you want to say anything else before we go, my friend?
No, I think everything's been covered. I really have been enjoying being an analyst for the D League, and I can't wait for season 2 to start.
Boy, oh boy, can I not wait for season 2. I've already started my draft plan, but you guys are going to have to wait till that draft to find out what I'm thinking. But,
Well, I've already sniped your first pick, so.
well, no, actually, I changed my mind. I'm actually sniping somebody with my second pick.
Oh, okay. All right.
Rip to that person. But if you guys, like I said, if you enjoyed, leave a like. Dpad, I thank you for joining me with this. Again, he's filling in for Phantom Base at the moment because the Phantom Baby is here, people. So sub to him just for the Phantom Baby being here, people. Phantom Baby content. Ask him for the Phantom Baby content. Tell him you want it. You need it. And with that, people, we're gonna get up out of here. All right. Want to say bye, Dpad?
All right, so, see you guys later.
Bye, Dpad.